Well, Dave, just going back to Tuesday night for a minute, I mean, a real range of emotions for everybody, I think, over the course of the 90 minutes. A difficult one to analyse at the time. Having had a bit more time to reflect, what's the takeaway from that? Does it feel like a point gained or two dropped?
It's a point, whether it's a point gained or two dropped. I think at half time, I would have taken a point. At 65 minutes, I probably wouldn't have taken definitely wouldn't have taken a point. So we maybe should have gone on and won the game. But like I say, from I suppose everyone's perspective, a game that had an awful lot about it between two good sides that will be up there come the end of the season. And you have to take sometimes what you get. We'll do that, and we'll move on to Saturday.
I mean, it says a lot about how far we've come that we are so disappointed with a draw against a promotion rival, especially on the back of 10 wins in a row. But I guess you've mentioned it before, it's kind of the situation you've inherited where we were a few months ago. There's such a small margin for error right now for County, isn't there?
There is, but we've put a good string of results together that's put us back in the mix, if you like, and given us a chance. Once you get to that point, you almost become a little bit greedy and a little bit expectant, maybe sometimes over expectant, and we wanted to win on Tuesday. We didn't start the game in the manner that we'd hoped. I don't think it was played in a way that really suited us, and that was down to us. We didn't get the ball down. We weren't brave enough in possession, in my opinion. We conceded poor goals, which allowed Chesterfield to play the game that they wanted. Second, at half-time, we spoke about that, and ultimately, second half, we're, I suppose, thankful of the decision that one of their players makes in terms of the challenge he makes, resulting in a red card, and momentum ultimately shifts to our side. What we had to do then was take advantage of that momentum, which we did. Got ourselves, obviously, one goal back, got ourselves level, and really then in the ascendancy. And I think there was then bits in the game where, like say, credit to them, they managed it and really managed it. They had some injuries, which again you don't want to see anyone, but that sort of halted momentum that we potentially had and became a little bit more frustrating to us. The last 10 minutes, like I say, credit to them, they got themselves into areas, they kept the ball at the side of the pitch, they won throw-ins and sort of wound the clock down from there. So little bits of frustration, but like I say, we've got to make sure that turns out to be a good point, and hopefully that'll be the case.
Anthony Sarcevic was obviously a big miss for a game like that as well. What's the latest on his situation and recovery? Maybe not with a view to Saturday, but Bromley next Tuesday and going on.
Yeah, listen, we're hopeful, really hopeful, but we were hopeful for we were hopeful for Tuesday just gone. So he's a small issue, and it's more a pain management issue than anything else. He could get through games if he wasn't in the pain. He's not going to do any structural damage to. He's got an issue with his ankle. He's had an injection. We hope that will solve the problem, if you like. But sometimes that takes time, and sometimes with injections they don't work. He was in a similar amount of pain as he is now when he was playing. It's just become unmanageable for him at this point. He's really close. Like I say, Saturday we wouldn't risk him anyway, but we are certainly hopeful for Tuesday. But as I said, probably as hopeful as we were against Chesterfield. We thought, like I say, he would play. That wasn't to be the case, so we'll have to see how it goes.
And to be fair, both of his midfield partners stepped up in that second half. We've talked a lot about Will Collar, but Ryan Crowsdale's another one that seems to have added a lot to his game. But at both ends since you've come in, you've obviously worked with Ryan before at Fylde, of course. What have you added to his game or changed to his game to get the best out of him?
Not really added much. I think, like I say, I know Crosby from my time at Fylde, and he's always been a midfield player that covers ground, can play at a high intensity, and probably wasn't able to do that within the system and the instructions he was given. We want to be front foot. He started his career as an attacking midfield player, and as he's got older, and he's not old, has gradually worked his way back. Has a good range of passing, but like I say, he has the ability and the engine to get around the pitch, just as Will does. So we've, I suppose, slightly loosened the shackles. He's still, of the three of them, probably is the one that has the most responsibility with being that central one. But we want them to get up and down the pitch. We don't want them to be safe. We don't want them sat in front defending and shielding our back 3, 4, 5 when needed. We want them, when we're attacking and have the ball, to affect the play just as much as when we don't have the ball. We want them to affect the game. And like I say, they've all been doing that. He's, I suppose, added goals to his game, which maybe had been missed over the past 12 months or so. And if we've got midfield players scoring, it's obviously going to be a benefit to our team.
Just moving away from the title race for a weekend, it's back to FA Trophy this weekend. Cheshunt currently 10th in the Isthmian Premier League. Really good win in the last round away at St Albans. What sort of threat do they pose on Saturday? They'll pose a threat, as they did in the last round, in terms of coming to a team or going to a team that's at a level higher than them or levels higher than them, going away from home and looking to progress. Like I say, a game that they without doubt will fancy themselves in, will enjoy coming to Edgeley Park. There'll be a threat with Rowan Liebird up front, who's 6'4" or 5, pretty direct, pace from the sides, and will look to cause us problems, just as we're going to look to cause them problems. So, like I say, we've got to focus on us and focus on what we do. It will give us opportunity to, like I say, to play some lads that need the minutes. But it's a game I'm really looking forward to, and a game that we want to win. You mentioned it a few weeks ago that this game might be an opportunity for us to see Ben Whitfield back in action for the first time. Is that still a target?
Yes, absolutely. Whether that's from the start or from the bench, we'll get some minutes into Ben. He's been involved now for the past week. We're certainly not in a position where we're gonna force him or rush him into going back, but I know he's desperate to get back out on the pitch, and hopefully the supporters will get to see him at the weekend.
He's obviously a very versatile player again. I think in your first game he played on the left of almost a 4-4-2 at Bolton. You've changed systems since then to the back three. Where do you see him best fitting in the current setup?
I think he's an intelligent footballer in terms of, even when he's playing wide on the left, I say a big one for me in terms of shapes and systems. That shapes and systems are more apparent when you're out of possession. So it'll be roles within what you've got to do to the opposition when you haven't got the ball. So whether you're playing wide left and your job is, or responsibility is, to mark the right back, then you might have to go, well, depending on what their right back does, might dictate where you are on the pitch. I think he'll always go and float into areas and as I said previously, affect the game. So whether that's playing from a side, whether that's playing as one of the midfield players, whether that's playing as one of the front players but playing off, as we've done with Ollie at times, I think the scope within that, it gives us more flexibility to be able to change that system if we're looking to, I suppose, take a defender out and play with either two centre-backs or play with a back four. So it just opens up our options in terms of what we want to do, really.
Just finally, Dave, for all the excitement of the promotion race right now, you are now just 3 wins away from Wembley. You've been there before, of course. You've won this competition with Fyle, but what would it mean to lead this club, these fans, out in a cup final at Wembley?
It'd be great. I think, as we've all said previously, priority-wise, if you were having to pick between the league and the FA Trophy, you'd pick the league. We're all greedy, and we're in a fortunate position where we don't have to pick. So we'll do everything we can to win in the trophy and keep winning, and we'll put a team out that we think can win, but ultimately we'll have one eye on what's further down the line for us, and certainly this weekend, Tuesday's an important game for us, and we know that again, if we had to, and we're put in a position where we had to pick which game we had to win and we could only win one, then we'd probably pick winning at Bromley on Tuesday. We're greedy, we want to win both. We're in a fortunate position where we can put teams out where we can absolutely do everything we can to win both. So that'll be the case. If we get rewarded further down the line and have the opportunity to take 25,000 Stockport fans to Wembley, and I'm sure it will be a brilliant day, a brilliant occasion. That's a little bit further down the line. We hope to get some big games at the back end of the season and ultimately achieve some really special things. Doing that would be one, but ultimately our aim is still to make sure that at the end of the season we're no longer a National League team.
Dave, thanks for your time and all the best on Saturday.
Cheers, Liam. Thank you.